Hello? Hello, Donovan. How are you? Hello, everyone. Who's here tonight? Or morning? Because right now, if you're in the UK, it's 2 minutes past 12. And it is officially the 1st of May. So, yeah, tonight I'm doing a Retrobat. Cheers, Retro Marine. I'm not sure if you've been watching my channels in the past, but yeah, I'm a massive Commodore freak. And I had this one for Christmas from my mum and dad. And yeah, I've been a C64 fan pretty much all my life. Well, since I was about 9 or 10. And yeah, big fan of the Commodore homebrew scene as well. I follow all that type of stuff. So, how many people we got here? We have got concurrent viewers. I'm guessing that's 8 viewers at the moment. So, whereabouts are you, Retro Marine? You in the UK? So what I normally do is I wait a couple of minutes. I know the video is, or the live stream is set at 12 o'clock. What I normally do, I just give it actually a couple of minutes, a few minutes, just to make sure everyone is here. Oh, you're from Virginia in the States. Never been to the States. Obviously, I know of the States. I've heard of Virginia. Talking about Virginia, I was watching Walk the Line last night. Obviously, Johnny Cash in. Not sure if that's anywhere near Virginia. Memphis way, I think Johnny Cash was. That sort of rock and roll 50s area. Elvis and everyone else. Jerry Lee Lewis. So, how many people have we got here? 6 concurrent viewers. And you know what, Retro Marine? The strange thing is, I've just read your name, your username, and I'm actually totally unrelated, but I'm just building an alien figure here, and obviously Marine Corps in the Alien films. Okie dokes. So give us a comment who's here, because this is going to be likely about an hour long live stream to set everyone up with the latest Retrobat. So yeah, a couple of nights ago I did an hour live stream for Retroarch. Oh, you saw it on the community post. Yeah, I'm a bit of a modelling geek, and actually my son is pretty much the same as me. He's a bit of a closet geek, I suppose. Now, if you hear a really annoying dog in the background, that's hello, Heavy Instinct. That's a dog, and trust me, this thing barks all day long. The owners won't tell it to shut up, and it is just absolutely terrible. Like, really bad. It's enough to drive a man insane. Yeah, so, like I say, if you can hear that dog, I apologise. Hello, Big Ripper. Yeah, you know what, Heavy Instinct? Someone actually said that a minute ago, Retro Marine. Literally the same thing. Cheers. Uh, are you actually keeping up with the Commodore? Because the Commodore is keeping up with you. Okay, I think I'm going to start this now. So the time is 6 minutes past 12. I said 12 o'clock. This live setup guide will commence. So we are going to get on with this, I think. I don't really want to keep anyone waiting. So let's get on with this. Retrobat version 6.1 setup, guys. Now, it's quite unlikely anyone's unaware of what Retrobat is. So it's a front-end system, and it's pretty much one of the best free front-end systems out there for retro gaming emulation. Now, recently, obviously with Yuzu under attack from Nintendo, we no longer have the ability to actually use Yuzu emulator in there. Now, I did do a setup guide for Yuzu emulator and Retrobat a little while back, and I didn't really want to do it, to be honest, at the time, but I did it because it was a part of Retrobat. But as a lot of you aware, I'm actually a retro gaming channel, and obviously Nintendo Switch simply isn't... It's not retro. But anyways, let's get on with this. So today we're going to look at setting up Retrobat version 6.1, which is the latest version, which actually came out about 2 or 3 weeks back. I'm going to be showing you everything, really, where it installs, how to add games, how to add BIOS files, how to download and use Mega Bezels. We're going to take a look at Retroarch. Obviously, Retroarch is powering around 80 to 90% of the systems within Retrobat itself. Yeah, we're going to look at a lot, including how to use retro achievements and a few other things too. So what we're going to do first then is actually download Retrobat itself. So we're going to go to the Retrobat website, and here it is. We're going to go to download Retrobat, and where are we? Downloads now, and downloads Retrobat. So no thanks, just take me to the downloads. Okay, so as we can see here, we have got a list, and funny enough, this is the itch.io website, which I totally recommend, and I will be recommending in a bit for homebrew games. Itch.io is a very good website for that. So we got the latest version here, 6.1.0 stable, and this is weighing in at just over a gigabyte in size. And this is predominantly for Windows. Retrobat is Windows only. People in the past, they've asked me, you know, is this going to work on Linux? No, it's not. It's just Windows. Now, let me just remind you, if you're using something like a Steam Deck, obviously this is Linux-based, there is programs and there's workarounds for using Windows apps on Linux-based systems. Lutris is a good program for open up .executable or .exe files. But we're not doing that, we're doing a Windows setup guide, so we're going to download this. And just to wait a little while, like I said, this is around just over a gigabyte in size, so yeah, it takes a couple of minutes to download this one. Oh, that's okay, Retro Marine, it keeps me sane. Yeah, Heavy Instincts, actually, this is a microphone. Uh, some sort of contraption, actually. If you can see this, it's not actually designed to latch onto my t-shirt, but I'm DIY all the way, and so yeah. But yeah, I've been using this for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and it's been sitting in the drawer, and I just thought to myself, let's actually experiment with this, and yeah, the sounds a lot better. But obviously, like any YouTuber, you're going to improve over time and improve on things. Okie doke, so it looks like Retrobat has downloaded. If we just open up that executable, what I'm going to do actually is, so I can't miss anyone what you're saying, bear with me. Okay, so if I just pull up this, I can then respond to anyone. Okay, so Windows protected your PC. Just go to more info here and run this anyway. Now, if you're using Windows 10, I'm obviously using Windows 11. I'm not sure if that pop-up, the window comes up. But anyways, we're going to go to OK. Obviously, this is for English. You can select a different language there. If I go to Next, and you can, by all means, spend up to a few hours reading the terms and conditions. That's entirely up to you. But I'm going to accept the agreement because I assure you I've read this agreement and I've taken it very seriously too. So I accept the agreement. Next. And like I said, read by all means, and we're going to go to Next. Now, before I go any further, let me just make a note here, actually. We got dependencies. Now, Retrobat is dependent on these programs just here. So we've got Visual C++ and we got DirectX. So just make sure, if you can't get Retrobat running, if it doesn't boot at all, just make sure you download those programs outside of Retrobat. But I think these days with Retrobat, the Visual C++ packages and DirectX is actually part of the installation. So we're going to go to Next. Now the next part of this is where we want to install Retrobat. Now I've said this before on videos I've uploaded. We can actually make Retrobat portable, and it's really easy. So say you've got a USB stick, and I apologise for that dog, it's just unforgivable this time of night, terrible, and the people around here aren't particularly happy with this. So say you've got a USB stick, just pop in your USB stick, and then you could go to Browse. Taxi Death, very briefly, I've done pinball setup guides, which is in my Retrobat playlist. I've done visual pinball, and I've also done future pinball. If you're asking me where to download stuff, don't bother. All right, in fact, I'm going to make everyone aware right now. I think some of you's already aware. I've actually filtered out anyone asking for ROMs or anything like that. So my channel isn't for you if that's what you're looking for. So anyways, if you want to install Retrobat Portable, just browse for your USB drive. For me, I'm going to just leave this as standard. So it's going to install in my C drive. If I go to OK and Next, and we also want to create a shortcut for this so we can access Retrobat easily once it's installed. If I go to Next and Install, and we're just going to wait for this to install. And what this is doing at the moment is installing to the C drive. So if I go to my C drive, in a minute, we're going to find Retrobat appear once this is finished installing. So it's currently extracting all of the goodness of Retrobat. Okay, and as we can see, just here in my C drive, we've now got Retrobat folder. And in here, we got all the goodness just here. So we're just going to wait around a minute for this one to finish extracting. So is a lot of you's probably aware on my channel, I've got regulars here who's normally in my live streams. I do a lot of it at the moment. Retrobat is likely, well, it is the most I've actually covered on my channel. So I got respect for all subscribers who's been with me for a long time for Retrobat. And, I do a lot of different setup guides. Like today, for example, I did Quick Play, which is a front-end emulation system. And it's not just that. I do a hell of a lot. I do standalone emulator setup guides too. But, yeah, Retrobat-wise, yeah, I'm always going to be uploading those. Not as regular as I used to, but every now and again. Okay, so we have set up Retrobat. And if we go to finish, and on the desktop, we've now got Retrobat. Now, you probably know what I'm going to say, but we can very easily access the directory rather than going into a folder, Windows Explorer, and go into a C drive. If we actually just right-click on that shortcut, open file location, this is the easiest way to get to this. And for the person who emailed me, if you should be watching this right now, if you can show me an easier way to get into the directory, which you claim this isn't the easiest way, do let me know. Let us know, because you could save a lot of people around 10 seconds of their time. So if you're watching this, you know what I'm saying. So this is Retrobat directory. Now in your directory, we got bat GUI, and let me be honest with you, bat GUI is as useless as an ashtray on a motorbike nowadays. I'll be honest with you, since version 6 was released, it's just been a mess. And but there's other ways we can do stuff. So if you're new to Retrobat, bat GUI is obviously bat graphical user interface. If we just open this, Big Ripper, I do have a setup for Retro FE. I've actually got a playlist. In fact, I've got loads of playlists at this point. I've actually got a Retro FE playlist. In there, you'll find a Retro FE 25-minute setup guide. And I've also done a MAME setup guide for Retro FE and an Amiga setup guide. And if you're into Retro FE, I seriously recommend attract mode, which I've also got a playlist for. And recently I actually uploaded how to add Retroarch to attract mode, which is a very good system combination. Okay. So let me just remind everyone again who's watching this. If you ask for games, where to download games, itch.io is a good place. Anything else, Nintendo, old school stuff, I wouldn't be answering you. So, okay, so this is Bat GUI. So Bat GUI, we got various different things in here. We got BIOS checker, for example. If I left click on this, it's precisely what I mean by Bat GUI has seen better days. But I'm sure the dev team are working to sort these problems out. So I'm guessing the BIOS checker eventually, when it's implemented, it's going to be a bit of software which is going to check which BIOS files is missing. We got CHD Manager. Now, what CHD Manager is going to be doing is converting .bin and .q files into .chd. So no longer will you have loads of bin files and q files, and by converting to CHD, actually saves you a hell of a lot of space as well. I'm going to use for this setup guide a completely different system for CHD conversion. So let's actually get onto this. Hello, Diego. Greetings. Steve, you're actually the third person tonight in this stream. It's actually said a good t-shirt. So are you keeping up with the Commodore? Because I certainly am. Totally. So here we go. So I think for now, for this stream for Retrobat, we're just going to bypass Bat GUI because, like I said, it's not totally necessary. And, there was a time where you could create M3U files for PlayStation 3 games to be recognized in Retrobat. Can't do that right now, I don't think, in Bat GUI, but there's alternative ways to create M3U files. Come on, let's just get into this. So what we're going to do is actually start setting this up then. So for this tonight, we're going to be setting up Super Nintendo, the Atari Jaguar, which I barely cover on my channel, and we're going to be doing some a bit more higher end, such as PS1 or PSX. So we've got Alien Trilogy just here, by far my favourite PS1 game. Yeah, I think that is my favourite PS1 game of all time. So what we're going to do first is add PlayStation. Now, like I was saying just a minute ago, we got .bin.q files, which normally when you rip a PS1 game, this is how it comes out. Now, right now, we can see the type of this is SNES 9X ROM. God knows why this has happened, but don't worry about what that says. What we're going to do is download a program called CHDman. So CHDman is a very cool and simple to use program. And some of you are probably aware of this program. I've mentioned it several times in the past. It's a very easy program. What we do with this is just go into our PS1 game, and it's the first two files, chdman.exe and the next one down. If we drag both of these into your PS1 games folder, what we're going to do then to actually start converting is just double left click on the .bat file. And here we go. So the game is now compressing, like it says, into CHD format. So, obviously PlayStation 1 games, some's, 50 megabyte to 100 megabyte, whereas bigger games are around, what's the size of a CD or type, around 720 megabyte. So, depending on your game, some games can take longer than others to convert. So, we're just going to wait a minute for this. Yeah, you're in totally good company, Steve. Okie dokes. So, yeah, we're just going to wait for this. It's almost done. Okay, so once CHDman has finished converting your game, you're going to find in the same folder you dragged both of those CHman files into, you're going to find the game is now got a .chd copy. So what I'm going to do is press Ctrl and A on my keyboard and highlight everything. If I then press Ctrl and I left click on CHD, I can then delete all the other files and we're just left with the CHD file. It's a very good app and I totally recommend it. Okay, so we've got Alien Trilogy now, which is in CHD, and we're going to start building Retrobat then. So if we go to the ROMs folder, just expand this, we're going to just scroll down and randomly, this is called PSX. So it should be called PS1, I swear, or at least PlayStation 1. So we're going to drag the PlayStation game inside of that ROM's PSX folder, just like that, very easy. Next thing we're going to want to do, if you're new to Retrobat, obviously particular systems being emulated by Retroarch in Retrobat are going to need BIOS files. So mainly all your CD-based systems. So we got Sega Mega CD, Sega Saturn's another one, Neo Geo CD, and of course PS1. Yeah, it's Alien Trilogy. Likely Heavy Instinct was one of those games I played most of. As a young teenager, just loved it. It's a great game. I wasn't too keen on the Alien Resurrection game, but Alien Trilogy, it definitely needs a remake or a remaster, like Tomb Raiders recently had. And you know what? Even Die Hard Trilogy. I was playing this the other day. Die Hard Trilogy. What a classic! That could easily be remade or remastered today. Okay, so we put our PS1 game into the PSX folder, and within the main Retrobat directory, we're just going to go to BIOS, and your BIOS folder is where your BIOS files are going to live. So we got lots of different folders here. Most of these we don't really need to use. What we do with the BIOS files, predominantly, is pretty much just drag and drop them into the BIOS folder. So if I go into my new folder, I got my PSX BIOS here. If I drag and drop these, or just make a copy of them, just loosely put your BIOS files into the Retrobat BIOS folder. Okay, and here we go. Now, this is very annoying, but these are listed as a type, which is SNES 9X. I think this is actually from my quick play setup guide earlier on. Let me just see if I can change this. It's very irritating. Show more options, properties. Opens with type of file. Okay, change. Not sure how this has happened. Okay, that's better enough, I think. At least it no longer says SNES on there, which is really bizarre. Okay, where were we? Okay, so we're going to go back to the Retrobat directory. I put the BIOS files into place, and I put my PS1 game into place. So let's actually open up Retrobat. Music drives me insane. So yeah, this is Retrobat if you're new to it, and this is what you're going to see when you boot up for the first time. I'm just going to connect my controller. I'm using an Xbox controller for this. Let's just remove that. Add device, Bluetooth, and Xbox wireless controller. Done. Okie dokes. Okay, so we're in Retrobat now. Obviously, this is PlayStation, which I've just added. If I go into this, here is my game. Now, we need to sign up with a website called Screen Scraper. So if I just press my Windows button just to exit out of Retrobat, whereas Screen Scraper is just here. So Screen Scraper is a database where you can link it up with Retrobat and other front-end systems. And once you sign up with them, you can then scrape artwork in preview videos. I think it's for an extra euro a month or a few euros a month or dollars, $5, I think. You've got access to download to much more, but you'll have to look into that. But anyways, what you do is just sign up and it's free. So once you've done that, we can actually start downloading artwork. So to do this in Retrobat, we're just going to press the start button, which brings up main menu. And if we go down to scraper, make sure that Screen Scraper is selected. As you can see, we've got a few different scraping databases here. Really, Screen Scraper is the best out of these. Now, under scraper settings, you're going to find a lot of different options here. Image source is likely going to be the best for Box 3D, or in my opinion, it is. But that's subjective. It's entirely up to you. Box source, I tend to leave this to Box 2D. Logo source, I'm going to be downloading wheels rather than marquees. And what we're going to do next is just go down to username and obviously put your password in. And from there, we can actually start scraping. But as you can see, I've not actually entered my username and password because I don't want people using my account. So, so I'm actually going to try another scraping database where I don't need to put in my username. Okay, so it looks like the games database is scraped that. So once your artwork is finished scraping, it's going to say at the top, update game list to apply changes. From main menu, just go to game settings and update game list and just press yes on this. And here we go. So games database worked fine, although it doesn't have a preview video, but whatever, that's okay. Okay, so let's actually spruce up Retrobat. So you know what? Retrobat actually doesn't look too good. Sorry, actually looks pretty good. It's standard default settings, not bad. But we can spruce this up if you want really easily. Just press your start button. And from main menu, we can go down to updates and downloads. If we go to themes, we got lots of themes here to download. One of my favorites personally is one called A Touch of Glass. I'm not sure if that theme's downloading through Retrobat nowadays, but there was a time where if you wanted to download it and install it, Retrobat wouldn't let it happen, so you had to do this manually. So let's go for ES theme reload. I don't think I've actually used this theme before, so to download it, just press the A button, say on the controller, install, and we're just going to let that download a minute. Legacy of Kain. I'd tell you what, Heavy Instinct, Legacy of Kain is actually got a really good Dreamcast community HD texture pack. Obviously, Legacy of Kain, it came out on the PS1 and it also came out on Dreamcast, probably on the Sega Saturn as well, might be wrong. But if you want the best possible look for that game, check out the Dreamcast community HD texture pack. So that I've covered it at some point on my channel. It's awesome. Okay, so we're just waiting for that theme to download. And obviously, we can actually download as many themes as we want using Retrobat Themes Downloader. Some of these are going to be bigger than others. The Touch of Glass theme, I think that's around 9 to 10 gigabyte. It's pretty big. So there's actually some new themes there added since I last used it. Neon Blast, again, that's a really awesome theme, but as you can see, it says 8,338 megabyte, which is just around 8.5 gigabytes, pretty big. Okay, so once it's downloaded, the theme's going to start setting extracting like it's doing now. It shouldn't take too long. So we got this new theme. I've not actually seen this one before. Retrorama CE. Looks pretty cool. Looks very 1970s vintage style. Looks pretty interesting. Again, we got tiled here. This is an absolutely new theme to me. I've not seen this one before. Okay, so just out of curiosity, I'm actually going to download Retrorama. It's only around 200 megabytes, so okay, downloading Retrorama. So what we're going to do, we're going to apply the theme, and if I press my B button to come out, to apply the themes, new themes in Retrobat, from main menu, go to User Interface Settings, Theme Set, and from here, you'll find your downloaded themes here. So I've got Retrorama, which I said is around 200 megabyte. That one downloaded very quickly. I'm going to just install, or rather set up, the main theme I've downloaded. Press A, and then press B to come out. And here we go. So we've got a nice wheel, and this isn't a bad looking. Yeah, it's pretty nice, this one. I quite like that. Let's check out the other one. So remember to apply new themes, just press your start button, which brings up main menu, user interface, theme, and Retroramas. Check this one out. And remember to apply this, you need to refresh Retrobat, as it were. So I'm going to press B. And here we go. Some sort of, weird 1970s. Look. Earthworm Jim 70s style. And where's PlayStation? Okay, so this is a character from Castlevania Sympathy of the Night, I think. I'm actually going to put this back to the theme I originally downloaded. Here we go. Okie dokes. Okay, so here we go. We've got a new theme now installed, and we have got PlayStation, which I've installed. Now, as you can see, the theme I was using just now didn't actually show us the artwork for the game, but using this theme does. We can actually customize the themes further. If we press Start button to go to main menu, User Interface Settings, Theme Configuration, and from here we can change the layouts of the themes. So personally, I think it's standard. This theme I've downloaded looks really good. Game list view style, for example, if I set this to, I don't know, let's go for game carousel detailed, press A and press B to come out. And here we go. So just by using that customization option, the layout of this is different now. Looks pretty cool, not bad. And, we can customize this further from user interface settings, theme configuration. Let's go to wheel position. So at the moment, as you can see, the wheel displaying the systems is on the right hand side. If I choose left and come out by pressing B, this we can see we've now changed that to the other side, which to me, I think it looks better on the right, but that's preference. I'm actually going to put that to the right side. I don't like that. Share. So user interface settings, theme configuration, wheel background. Let's try using one of these. So obviously different themes have got different layout options. But I'm going to leave this as B for now. I quite like this one. Okie dokes. So what we're going to do first is actually check if this Alien Trilogy game is going to work. So obviously to enter your games, just go into it by pressing A. Now, sometimes if you've put the correct BIOS files into the BIOS folder, you're still going to see occasionally BIOS files are missing. And the reason that is because PlayStation has several ways of emulating it. For example, if I bring up view options by pressing select advanced system options, if I drop down emulator, we can see here it's actually supported by Libretto, Retroarch, Mednafen. We also got Swan Station, PCSX Rearmed, and we can also play PlayStation 1 games using DuckStation, standalone emulator, and a few others. So if I open this and just bypass the missing BIOS files, just press yes. Okay, so we're straight in and we have got the BIOS pop up. Yeah, I think it's a bit of an alien day today. If you're new, I was actually I bought a couple of alien board games earlier on, and I've been putting Ripley together in one of these power suit things, which is quite fun. And I'm going to look forward to spray painting that one and painting it orangey yellow. Yeah, totally alien state today. I had my fiance watching Aliens with me earlier on. She's not a big fan of that. I put her through Prometheus the other day. Obviously, Prometheus is like a prequel to the late 70s Alien film. So anyways, we can see Alien Trilogy works fine, and I've not had to configure my controller for this. Now, if we're using Retroarch cores through Retrobat, which this one is, if I press the spacebar, we can fast forward. Just a little tip. Get that little xenomorph. Okay, let me just check on my questions a minute. Let me just catch up with what people's asking or saying. Yeah, Touch of Glass is really good. Scotty Retro, you're right. Scotty Retro really does do some good designs. I think he's actually commented on my channel at some point. So yeah, he's a good contributor to the retro emulation community. You know what, Diego? I actually had a lot of people over time complaining about the Retrobat development team, the Retrobat devs. And I'll be honest with you, they're dicks. Or I'm not going to lie, they're dicks. That quite literally. They're rude, they're obnoxious, and they don't treat people too well. Some of you might think I'm a bit harsh for saying that, but personally, how they treated me in the past, um, yeah, they're dicks. We'll just leave it like that. And a lot of people over time's commented on my videos, pretty much saying I provide better detailed setup guides anyway. I did a Retrobat forum video to show that I wasn't the only one experiencing issues with the development team. There's a particular dev or some administrator in that forum. And Jesus Christ, man, it was like dealing with Hitler or something. Because like, you got more rules than Hitler. It's like, get a grip, man. You're just some forum, seriously. But, but the trouble is with Retrobat is, yeah, they produce a very good front end. But in terms of getting support from the Retrobat team, they're just terrible. Absolutely terrible. And I wouldn't recommend that for them, my worst enemy. Really. So, Diego, when you say that about not being the most friendly, they're not the most friendly. They're French, and what they do, they try and justify things by claiming that it's a language barrier. So they mean to tell us that everyone has got a language barrier because they treat people badly. That's not a language barrier. That's the Retrobat team actually being idiots and using that as an excuse. Yeah, heavy instinct, you're right. But, I'm not going to turn this stream into a slagging match. Yeah, they're idiots. Absolute idiots. And it's quite literally every time these days I upload a Retrobat video, I get dislikes. Majority of my videos are 100%. It doesn't bother me too much. And the funny thing is that I don't want to be big-headed, but I like to think I've brought Retrobat a lot of users. I've been doing Retrobat for a long time, and they should be treating me with more courtesy. They should, but they don't. So, look, whatever. Yeah, man, totally agree. So, end of story. Retrobat devs are dicks. So, let's get on with this. So, we're just playing Alien Trilogy. And what I've done from here is press F1 button on my keyboard. This has brought us into Retroarch quick menu. And from here, we can exit the game very easily. We've got other options in here too. Now, once we're in quick menu, if I press my B button and go down, it's going to bring us out. Okay. Other things we can download once we're in Retrobat to make the games look better in some ways is, if we go to main menu, updates and downloads, if we just go down to the Bezel project, and I can download PlayStation just here. So if I download this a minute and install, some of these Bezel project packs, they can take a little bit of time to download. They're pretty big, some of them. But I'm going to show you in a sec what this can do. So while that's downloading, if we go into the PlayStation, and I'm going to press select button on my controller, view options, advanced system options, shader set. We've got different shaders here to use. So we've got scan lines, we've got Technicolor, which is pretty cool. And in a minute, once the PSX Mega Bezels is finished extracting, when we go into shader set, we're going to see Mega Bezels appear here. So we're just going to wait for those bezels to extract. And we also got decorations. So as you've seen just a minute ago, we got the Mark 1 model of the PlayStation as decoration on the side. If I go it to none, and if I go back to shader set, where has that gone? No. So I told a lie, actually. Mega Bezels don't go in the shader set. Decorations, the Bezel project. Here we go. Okay. Now, in terms of game aspect ratio, we can actually stretch or make the game full screen if we really wanted to. Obviously, PS1, anything of that era, probably prior to around 2004, 2005, was predominantly 4:3 aspect ratio, which was a box screen image with black bars on the sides. Go to game aspect ratio. If I put this to full, you can get a full screen for this. Next up, what I'm going to do is take away. No, we've already done that. Decorations. Let's boot up the game with what I've just set. Okay, and as you can see, we now got this really funky bezel on the side. But because I put this into full screen, the bezels is cropping. So let's just exit out. So if I press F1 and press B, if I then go into aspect ratio again and change it to 4:3, or in fact, in these options, if you go for auto, Retrobat detects the next option down. So if we go to auto and open up the game again, Oh, that's okay, Michael. I'm just glad people watches me. Personally, if I was watching me, I'd be really bored of watching me and listening to me. In fact, I get so bored of watching myself, it does my head in sometimes when I got to listen to it back when I'm editing. So, I'm actually being serious. I drive myself insane. So, anyways, we got the bezel projects now, which looks pretty cool. Now, because I downloaded Mega Bezel Pack, if I had another game, say Rayman or Pandemonium or Wild Guns, whichever game it is, you're going to have the artwork more than likely for that particular game. Like we can see, I've got Alien Trilogy, Mega Bezel here applied. So that looks pretty cool. Okay, so view options, advanced system options. We can funk this up a little bit more. Now, we got internal resolution. Now, the thing with internal resolution is that you can make old school games. What's Alien Trilogy, around 94, 95, maybe 1996? You can make these really old games look really good. Internal resolution is the one for you, but you're going to need a fairly good computer to really boost this up. Example, if I put this 8 times or 16 times, I'm going to feel or hear my laptop sounding a bit like a fan, because there's a lot of processes going on, so that it's going to work hard to give me that resolution. If I use 16 times and go back into the game, and just remember, if you're using Retroarch cores in Retrobat, if you press the spacebar, you can actually fast forward. Okay, if I just fast forward the game, if I go into the gameplay, now that I've applied internal resolution at 16 times, you can see pixelation, of course, but it's not as bad as what it was. And there's other video settings we can put on here to make things look a lot better too. But as you can see, if we look at the xenomorph I've just splattered with the acids going everywhere, it doesn't look so pixelated. And I'm not sure if you can hear it, but my computer, the fan, is going mental. And in fact, I actually bought a laptop stand today with a big fan underneath it. So, highly recommended if you've got a gaming laptop and it gets hot, get yourself a laptop stand with a fan. So, you know, when I splatter the xenomorphs, facehuggers, no longer is their acid blood pixelated. It actually looks a little bit more, well, a bit more roundish rather than squarish. Check out this explosion. If I can explode one of these barrels, I can't yet. You know what, one of the games I used to play back in the day, around 96, 97 it was a game called Jet Racer 2. Was it Jet Racer 2? 1997 that Christmas, my mum and dad bought me a Greatest Hits 1997 double album CD, and I remember listening to it constantly whilst playing the game Jet Racer or Jet Motor 2. Really cool game it was at the time. And at the time I was listening to Prodigy, Breathe, which was around 1997 on that album. Bit of Oasis, do you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. And you know what, 1997 actually seen Barbie Girl by Aqua release. That was also on that album. My memory is too good. People often tell me, my mum in fact, what a great memory I got. Yeah. So when we just exploded those barrels, we now got an alien which is going to attempt to kill me. So let's sort this one out. There we go. So let's... Oh, get out of my face. So there we go. If you just looked at the explosions, now I've used higher internal resolution, you can see things aren't so pixelated. You know what, Michael? A lot of people actually say my setup guides are easier than most people's. And, you know, years ago, I'd watch YouTube myself from time to time to learn how to use systems. And I do find that there's a lot of unnecessary jargon, not very well explained on a lot of emulator setup guides, and as a newbie myself once years ago, that was very frustrating. And when people was talking about bits and bytes and this and that without really explaining it in layman's terms, it's a little bit confusing. So I pitch most of my videos as easy as possible because I put myself into that mindset of a beginner myself once. Yeah, Heavy Instinct, system settings, developer options. Let me just go back into Retrobat. Hmm? What? Okay, so as does that. I'm not sure what this is. I think someone has just sent me some money. I'm not sure what this is. If you've sent me some money, is some of you's aware I'm pretty new to streaming, so you know what? I'm not even sure how many people's watching my stream at the moment. I've got 16 people according to concurrent viewers. Live streaming is something I've been doing a lot of lately, and I'm going to continue to do more of that. Okay. So if you sent me some money, I really appreciate that. For anyone else, I've obviously got a PayPal donation, that type of thing. But whatever, let's get on with this. And here we go. So back in the PlayStation, advanced system options, and we've sorted the internal resolution out to 16 times. We also got other bits and pieces here. If we go to visual rendering, you're going to notice as well in particular systems within Retrobat, you're going to have different options for video settings. PlayStation is one of the systems that we got most video settings for. For example, if I go to video filters, I can apply video filters just here. You've got some really random filters. Let's go for Game Boy. We got several different Game Boys. So if I go for the Game Boy DMG, which is I think Game Boy DMG was the original OG Game Boy. Let's turn this on. Go back into the game. Is this actually applied? I'm not sure. No, don't look like it's applied. So what happens with that one? Okay, let's just pretend let's pretend I didn't do that. Video filters. I'm actually going to put this back to auto. So anyways, under visual rendering, we got anti-aliasing. If I go into this option, just like internal resolution, by bumping up anti-aliasing, this is also going to be very wearing on your computer. You're going to hear your computer sound a bit like what the cool kids say the PlayStation 3 sounds like. No, the PS4, in other words. So I'm going to try this on 16 times. And just remember, if you've got a potato computer, by turning these settings up to 16 times, you could literally blow up your computer and burn your house down. So, just go very careful. So I've turned anti-aliasing on. What anti-aliasing does is takes away jagged edges. So we got objects in a game. Let's just say we got a character of Lara Croft, and around her head or around her breasts, things are looking a bit square. So it's not actually a perfect circle for her boobs as such. If we put anti-aliasing on, what this does, it makes it rounder so it's not so pixelated. So if I go back into the game, and press spacebar just to fast forward this. So if we take a look at this tube on the side of the game just here, if I didn't have anti-aliasing boosted up to 16 times, it's quite likely it wouldn't look so flat on the top, on the edges. It would look a little bit more pixelated. So by applying anti-aliasing, it's going to smooth that out, and it's going to look a bit more kind of realistic. And yeah, my computer and my laptop, it's starting to sound like a PS4. I think that's what the cool kids say about PS4s when they're trying to say the Xbox One is better. But whatever. Let's X out of here. So that's PlayStation sorted out. That's looking pretty good. If we exit out of Retrobat, then main menu and so we've covered Screen Scraper. We also got retro achievements in Retrobat. So if you're not aware of retro achievements, what this does is gives you achievement points. And retro achievements is actually a whole community of people trying to beat each other's scores. So you can sign up with this just like Screen Scraper is absolutely free. And you can actually link this up with Retrobat. And if you enable it in Retrobat, there's a particular setting. Whenever you get to a certain point in the game, you'll get a little window pop up with a sound if you enable it. In fact, what I'm going to do is actually open up Retrobat, just quickly show you how to set up retro achievements. And by the way, if you don't like that, which starts Retrobat, the intro video, I'm going to show you in a second how to get rid of that or even use your own video. So if we want to use retro achievements, main menu by pressing start, user interface settings, and no, it's not user interface settings, it's game settings. Retro achievement settings is under game settings, and go into here. And to use retro achievements, obviously press your A button to enable it, and then type in your username and password. And once you've done that and you're linked up with retro achievements, you've then got various different toggles here you can turn on or off. And if you fancy a sound for every time you reach a retro achievement, just go to unlock sounds and just put Retroarch standard on. And that's it. That's pretty much how you set up retro achievements. It's not particularly the hardest thing to do. Yeah, you know what, Michael? I think actually Bits and Bytes is actually a channel which I do watch myself from time to time. No, it wasn't a criticism for a particular channel. What I mean to say is, you know, technical language when it's unnecessary. So yeah, I just try to describe or explain things a little bit easier than a lot of people do when they're explaining these things. Okie dokes. So what we're going to do next then is we've got some more systems to add. If I go into my folder just here, and inside my folder, just like I said at the start of this stream, I've got the Atari Jaguar and I've got Super Nintendo. So really easy to add these. If I go to my Retrobat directory, right click and open file location, obviously your games go into the ROMs folder. And just remember that not all systems are easy to set up. For example, we got things like Techno Parrot and PS3. They're not as straightforward, but if you're new to Retrobat, I've done an entire playlist around over 130 setup guides I got. So anything technical, I've likely covered it at this point. So we're going to look for Atari Jaguar, and we're actually going to download an emulator within Retrobat in a minute to support Atari Jaguar. If you're an Atari Jaguar fan, we got Big PMU nowadays. It came out around a year and a half, 2 years ago, and it supports Atari Jaguar and Atari Jaguar CD 100%. So previous to Big PMU, Atari Jaguar was just bad, like really bad. All of a sudden, Big PMU comes on the scene. It's like, whoa, is this for real? Everything plays. So anyways, I got Jaguar games here. If I just drag those into my ROMs Jaguar folder, and that's all we need for Jaguar. We don't need BIOS for standard Atari Jaguar. And if you're in America watching this, I think you pronounce it Jaguar. I'm not sure. A bit like the ZX Spectrum in the ZX Spectrum situation. So, okay, we also got Super Nintendo to add, so just find the folder. SNES. And you might see, or you will see, another folder next to SNES called SNES MSU1. This is an enhanced version of enhanced audio pack for particular Super Nintendo games. I covered it for Retrobat a while back, so if you like Super Nintendo, check out in my Retrobat playlist the SMU1 setup guide. It's very good. Okay, so we're going to just pop some SNES games in here. So I've got a few here. Okay, and if we open up Retrobat again. Okie dokes. So, like I said, with particular systems in Retrobat, we do have to download emulators separately. I'm in Scotland. Yeah, I was speaking to a Scottish person the other day, actually, on a live stream, and I was saying to him what a nice place Scotland was. I came up with my fiance around a year ago, went to Edinburgh, and probably one of the most cleanest places I've actually seen in in the UK. I couldn't believe there was no bubblegum chewing gums over the floors. It was just pretty amazing, really, really clean. And if you've never been to Scotland, I totally recommend Edinburgh. Really nice place. You know what, Heavy Instincts? The Jaguar, it was such a flop. I think it was after around 2 years of its original release. It was in Electronics Boutique, which was a 90s gaming shop back in the day. And they were literally selling them for £10, $15 if you're in the States. They couldn't get rid of them. And they were so cheap. Of course, today, if you had a boxed Atari Jaguar, you're looking at around £600, £700 for a box one, probably more actually. In fact, I was in CX the other day in a place called Middlesbrough, which is near where I live. And they had an unboxed Atari Jaguar in there for £370. I'm like, are you serious? £370? It's not even that good. Ooh, Sheffield. Yeah, Sheffield, where the Human League are from. And Sheffield, I think Pulp are from Sheffield. Good place. And obviously you had Gladiators, which is a really cool comeback. That's filmed in Sheffield. Okay, so let's get back onto this. So we got Super Nintendo added, and we got the Atari Jaguar. So what we can do is actually go to Retrobat, and from here we're going to find Big PMU. If I press A, by having to install emulators. So go to yes. And here we go. So for this particular emulator, it looks a bit weird, and it is. But we can use page up, page down, and your arrow buttons on your keyboard to navigate this for now. My controller isn't actually picking this up. So what we need to do with some emulators such as this one is actually set up input settings. So obviously if we open this up with Retrobat and we fancy playing an Atari Jaguar game, your controller isn't likely going to work. So we're going to go over to input, enter, and this one's a bit of an odd one to set up if I remember correctly. So we're going to want to go to input device, or is it input plugin? Possibly this one. Input device 1, standard, rotary. Gonna leave this be. Okay, so that's now set. Okay, so if I open up one of my Jaguar games, let's go for the very odd Attack of the Mutant Penguins, which is a really bizarre game, but quite a fun game. No, actually, let's go for Doom. Okay. So advanced system options, emulator, we're going to put this on Big PMU. Because remember, Atari Jaguar emulation, it's bad. Apart from Big PMU, Atari Jaguar emulation in general is shockingly bad. So make sure if you're into Jag, use Big PMU. And here we go, we're into Atari Jaguar. We're playing like it's 1994. Now, if I press escape on my keyboard, I can actually access the Big P emu settings screen. And I still need to configure my controller here. So I'm going to have to go down to input and press enter to go in here. And I recall having issues with this one before. So input device count and input device 1. Analog standard. Let's try standard. Set bindings. Okay, so from set bindings, I can actually map out my controller by the looks of it this way. It's not really an emulator I use too often. So randomly set these up. Come on. Can't see what I'm doing because I got this bezel in place. It's getting a bit annoying. Okay, so that's going to be the pause button. So I'm pretty convinced there's not been a system in history which hasn't had a port of Doom put to it. I think there was even a calculator version of Doom at some point recently. It's even on the ZX Spectrum or ZX Spectrum. Okay, and for the number pads on the Jaguar controller, I can't even be bothered with this. It was just, yeah, can't be bothered. So go back into the game. And we're going to game like it's 1994. So obviously, this looks incredibly fast. I was recently playing the PC version of this, and this version seems extremely fast to me, like ultra fast. It's kind of like Doom on speed. Okay, so particular emulators you can download and use in Retrobat. We can go to video settings and we can change how this looks through here. So let me also say that particular emulators these days has also got high dynamic range or HDR. So if I was put this to enabled, if I got a HDR screen, I could play it in HDR. So the option's there if you want to. But we got lots of different settings here for the Jaguar. I'm not actually going to bother with this. Hmm? Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I'm now back. So what happened was I just opened up the Big PMU when I was just happily playing Doom and saying I'm playing it like it's 1994. And for some reason, you just got a black screen. So I'm not sure what that was about. Okay, so pretty much don't want to put this one on again because that gives the black screen of death. Okay, so clearly my computer doesn't like Big PMU much, or it's because I was just playing Doom and it's subtitled Evil Unleashed. So maybe by playing the Atari Jaguar version of Doom, it unleashed evil and you couldn't see it. Okay, so let's I pretty much covered most things there, I think, and I'm just so I think I pretty much covered everything. Is there anything I've not yet covered? Is there anything I've not covered, do you think? Let me know in the comments. Like I say, it's Doom Evil Unleashed, and I think I just unleashed the evil onto my channel, possibly. It wasn't actually bad. It's just a shame there's no music in it. Of course, no, that's Metallica. But you know what I mean. The music, that metal, 16-bit sounding guitar, sounds pretty good. Okay, now we're talking about Doom, which is just reminded to me. If you've not seen my video how to download free games in Retrobat, we can do this. So, Retrobat has actually done me a favour. We can actually download games in Retrobat, free games, and some really good games. What we need to do is go into the Retrobat directory, and we need to go into Retroarch to do this. Emulators folder, and we're going to find Retroarch folder here. If we go in there, and just scroll down to retroarch.exe. This is the way you do it. Online updater, and if I go to content downloader, from here I can find Doom, and this is actually a really good version of Doom. If I download Doom shareware.zip, also download PR Boom, and under content downloader we can actually download more games than this, such as Quake 1 and 2. We also got Rick Dangerous, which is a quality micro game. So lots there to download. And whilst we're in online updater, course system files downloader, I think for Doom, we need to download this prboom.zip. If I download that for now, let it extract. And if I then go to... Now, what you've just downloaded will go into your Retrobat folder, and it should be in Downloads. Here they are. This is what I've just downloaded, and I'm just trying to get my bearings how to make this work in Retrobat. So, if I open up Retrobat again, is it this way I do it? Do we have a folder here? No, I think I'm losing the plot with this one. But if you're interested in free Retrobat games such as Doom, just check out my Retrobat playlist, and you'll find a free games, Retrobat free games video in there, and it will show you how. So like I said, I don't really bother too much with Retrobat nowadays, and there's a lot of things I cover, and sometimes I just forget things. Ports. Rick Dangerous. I think really that's it. That's I think I'm gonna end it there unless there's anything else. Yeah, I know what you mean by the MIDI sound, but of course it was just at the time when MIDI was the way to go. So, is there anything else anyone wants to know? I did mention itch.io earlier on. Now, since the Retrobat devs treat people so badly, which they do, that's a fact, and it's been mentioned earlier on tonight, don't donate to Retrobat, donate to me. So, if we go to itch.io, where you download Retrobat from, just type in itch.io. If you're into modern day retro games, itch.io is such a cool website. Let me just type in C64. So you've got lots of new modern homebrew C64 games here, and obviously you can use these in Retrobat. And if you're a Commodore 64 fan, it might be a few years old now, but Sam's Journey is a must. It's pretty expensive, but it's a must. It's a superb game, which actually recently got a port to Nintendo NES 8-bit. Also, Zeta Wing 2. So some of these games on itch.io you've got to pay. But to me, encouraging developers for these old games or modern games for older systems, it encourages them. So you know, if you can pay for these games. So, on itch.io, you can also type in something like NES, and you've got lots of NES games come up. And yes, believe it or not, there is some modern games for Nintendo NES, such as Micro Mages. That one came out a couple of years ago. And we've also got Witchin' Viz, which is a fairly new Nintendo NES game. Some really good stuff coming out on the NES nowadays. And that's okay, Michael. So, Michael, since you mentioned Dizzy, did you hear a few years ago the Oliver twins actually gave someone their permission for a brand new Dizzy game? And the Dizzy game was The Wonderful World of Dizzy, I think it was called. Wonderful Dizzy, and that's a brand new um, ZX Spectrum game. I don't think it was ported to the C64 as of yet, but here you go. It's really nice to see the Oliver twins have authorized someone to make a new Dizzy game, and yeah, it looks really nice with that Codemasters logo at the front there. Yeah, don't worry, Mike. I'm an old fart, so I'm 40 years old. I'm going grey and stuff, and things are beginning to sack nowadays. So you're not alone. So I think that concludes the video for tonight. So yeah, as always, I appreciate donations to my channel, and you know what? There's particular video setup guides which I do, such as C64 Forever and the Amiga Forever videos. I actually went into my own pocket to get the software to make videos for those, and there's particular systems I use donations on, such as Launchbox, which I do setup guides for. So, donations, even if it's $1, even if it's £1, everything adds up and it makes my channel better. Jason, have you just joined? So, yeah, I started at 12 o'clock tonight, in the UK, that is, and I've been talking for around an hour and 20 minutes now, and frankly, my mouth is dry. I've actually got a kind of Vimto energy here. So, yeah, the problem is that mainly my subscribers are in America. If I go on to my analytics, I can see geography here of where people are based in. 25.1% of my subscribers are in the US, whereas 10.6% are in the UK. And then I've got various different countries around the world, such as Germany, Brazil, Italy, France, Canada, Philippines, Spain, and Australia, out of all places, other side of the world from the UK. So to do a live stream for particular countries, such as the US, it can be a little bit complicated sometimes. Early hours of the morning equals an acceptable time for people living in the US, but of course in this country, it's fairly late, and it's at some point I need to go to sleep. France, okay, and oh, Steve, you just subbed, did you? Is there if you've just come across my Retrobat live setup guide, um, if you've not heard what I've said earlier in this stream, um, I've got a massive playlist for Retrobat. It's one of the biggest front ends I've covered in the past, without a doubt. So lots of different setup guides there for Retrobat. And let's just remind ourselves that I am not a Retrobat channel. I think at some point a few months ago, people was beginning to think I was, but I'm not. I cover different emulation emulators. Oh, thank you, Michael. That's really kind of you. Thank you. So, I'm guessing this is a donation. Like I say, if you're new to the stream, if you just joined, I'm new to streaming itself, and I'm thinking to myself, how many people are watching me right now? And I think I've got to grips with this. We're on concurrent viewers, 16. So I think this is about my fifth stream I've done pretty much since I've had my channel, and my subscribers are rapidly going up. So I'm really impressed with that. And I've also got a merch store which I'm going to be adding to that type of thing. So support Just Jamie. Oh, it's okay, Michael. You know, it just keeps me sane. Literally keeps me sane. So, what's everyone using at the moment is Retrobat everyone's preference at the moment. Is Retrobat your thing? If anyone ever wonders, which is my favorite front end, it's actually Launchbox. And yeah, you pay for a Launchbox, obviously, if you want to use big box, but by far, personally, in terms of premium, I'd say Launchbox without a doubt. And it's not actually that expensive, but Launchbox, a very good system if you're willing to pay for a premium front end system, that is. Yeah, Steve, if you're on Retroarch, I did a live stream a couple of nights ago, a few nights ago, a full setup guide for Retroarch. And in fact, I got a full playlist for Retroarch. It's quite amazing what you can do with Retroarch. If you're not aware, you can add dynamic backgrounds, you can change the icons in Retroarch. Check out my Retroarch playlist, and you'll find exactly just how good you can make Retroarch look. Highlander for the C64. Was that by Ocean Software? It's like one of the worst C64 games. You know what? Highlander, if you're talking about the game Highlander, that was Christopher Lambert and Sean Connery, I think. Yes, seriously, do check out my RetroArch playlist because, like I said, with the way we can customize RetroArch these days, it's pretty much a really nice looking front end. Heavy Instinct, I did a Ocean Software Commodore 64 1982 to 1994 video, and that was every single release of Ocean Software between those years, and I was rating them by the Lemon 64 community. If you're not familiar with Lemon 64, it's a really good forum for, well, C64. And Ocean produced the Highlander game, and yeah, shocking isn't the word. It was really bad. But you know what? I've not actually seen the film Highlander. I know of it, and I've known about it for years, but I've not actually watched it. I think there's 3 Highlander films. Pretty sure there's 3 of them. And like I say, Christopher Lambert and Sean Connery's a legend. So, or was a legend. Okay, so I think I'm going to call that a night now. To be honest with you all, it's 1 in the morning, and I'm pretty shattered. Yeah, you know what, Heavy Instinct, I will get around to watching Highlander one day. It's on my to watch list. Obviously, it's an 80s classic, a cult classic. I remember US Gold Ocean Electronic Arts before EA came along. You know what? I thought EA was Electronic Arts. Obviously, Electronic Arts was the times of Desert Strike and Jungle Strike and games like that type of era. Electronic Arts, they did a lot of sports games, the NHL type games, in FIFA. Obviously, the Electronic Arts Mega Drive games were pretty big compared to a regular size Mega Drive or Genesis carts. So, anyways, I'm going to call it a night for now because I've been going on long enough and my mouth is frankly really dry. So, I'm going to have some more Vimto. But anyways, for people that sent super thanks or donations, what you sent tonight, I really appreciate that. And until next time, stay retro.